a bunch was made by media, many, of this sort of Rogan associated, which they hate being described that way, but podcaster crew. This group of really prominent comedian podcasters who dabble in politics and are really influential, but it all happens within the environment of we're just chit-chatting. I don't know, Trump seemed cooler. That's great. Not political commentators per se. And how much that type of vibe shift among them could have played a role in the election results. And it's not just, sometimes people get mocked when they say that, like Joe Rogan made the difference. It's not that. It's more he and Andrew Schultz and Shane Gillis and these different people were representative of a cultural vibe shift that helped for a lot of people who weren't keeping up with a bunch of the specific policy debates swing the election towards Trump, especially among young men, trying to understand the young men. And so I want to show you Rogan starting to realize, I think Trump might be bad. And then Andrew Schultz, and then we'll look at Shane Gillis, and there are others as well, Tim Dillon, etc. People who really help to participate in that cultural vibe shift, who are now going, what? Trump's doing all this stuff. It doesn't seem great. Now, what we, as people who advocated really strongly against Trump in the election, have the urge to do is scream at them. And I get that. You'll hear, especially the Andrew Schultz clip, him go, no one voted for this. And it's like, but you did though. But is that going to help us electorally just to scream at people whenever they start to move more in our direction? No, probably not. So I guess we have to just go, yeah, you didn't vote for that. Okay. I don't know. We'll try to discover our feelings throughout this segment. Let's go.
ICE raids are fucking nuts, man. Watching this protest on television, it's like...
Do you think the raids are nuts?
All of it's
yeah.
nuts.
I think both sides are taking it a little too hard.
Well... I don't think the Trump administration, if they're running and they said, we're going to go to Home Depot and we're going to arrest all the people at Home Depot, we're going to go to construction sites and we're going to just like tackle people at constructions. I don't think anybody would have signed up for that. They said, we're going to get rid of the criminals and the gang members first, right? And now we're seeing like Home Depots get raided. Like that's crazy.
If Trump had said, like, let's just think this out. If Trump had said mass deportations now, people would have been like, that's crazy. Wait, he did say that. Mark Ruffalo, who is this guy? Look at Mark. That's Hulk. He, I'm sorry, I have to. He smashed Trump's Rogan's statement there. And said, dear Rogan, it's a little late now to pretend like Project 2025 didn't exist and wasn't the playbook all along. You're either not that smart or not that dumb. It's hard to tell at this point. So that's the most satisfying reaction, of course, is linking to all the times Trump did indicate exactly what he was going to do. But before I get more deeply into that, here's another really prominent comedian who was hyping up Trump, had an interview with him, and it was just a slobber sesh. And now he's saying Trump's not doing any of the things that I wanted him to do.
I believe that about Trump. I believe when Trump, everything he campaigned on, I believe he wanted to do. And now he's doing the exact opposite thing of every single fucking thing. I don't know
what he's done. Yeah, exactly to your point. If you tell me, it's easier for me to believe you wanted to do all these things if any of them were happening in the way that you said they were.
To that point, like there'll be people that they'll DM me and be like, you see what your boy's doing? You voted for this. I'm like, I voted for none of this. He's doing the exact opposite of everything I voted for. Yeah. I want him to stop the wars. He's funding them. I want him to shrink spending, reduce the budget. He's increasing it. It's like everything that he said he's going to do, except sending immigrants back. And now he's even flip-flopped on that, which I kind of like. But he's like, oh, well, we kind of need the people working in restaurants, and we need our farmers. It's like everything that he said that he was going to do, that he campaigned
well, he said
really
to us, which was important, and I thought it was good. You pressed him on it. Well, you got to start with the criminals in terms of deporting. I don't even know if the criminals are getting sent back. I know there's a lot of people with green cards getting sent back. There's people who aren't criminals getting sent back. I don't know if you're sending back the criminals first. You're definitely not doing it first. I don't know if you're sending them back at all. So nothing has happened.
I remember growing up, my parents would say, don't Number one, don't talk to strangers. And they would use the example of if someone pulls up in a van and they say, do you want candy? Don't get into the van. And I was like, all right, that makes sense. Do you want candy in the van? Got it. And then one day I was walking home from school and a van pulled up and a guy, handsome guy, but, kind of scruffy, said, hey, do you want some pieces of candy? And I said, oh, he didn't say candy per se. He said pieces of candy. All you have to do is get into this van. And I got in the van, was kidnapped, eventually got back to my parents, and I said, this guy offered me candy. I got in the car and then he kidnapped me. Like, why didn't y'all come looking? And they said, we told you that's exactly how it goes. And I said, wow, that is terrible. Now, in preparation for the segment, I asked Jaden if he could help me with a good metaphor for what they're doing, and the candy analogy, metaphor, whatever, was his idea. And upon using it, I'm regretful. But in this example, it's more like, my parents didn't do that, obviously. It's more like the kidnapper opens the van door and says, hey, something candy, but also I'm going to kidnap you. And then you get in, and then he closes the door and he's like, now I'm kidnapping. And you're like, what? You said you didn't say kidnap it, because Trump did say all of the worst things that he's doing. Now, okay, the high spending point, maybe I sympathize with a little bit more. But if you look at any of the analyses that we were talking about of Trump's economic plan, it was going to blow up the debt. Like, that was a part of what are you saying? So it's really hard not to point that out. But I am glad to see that they're realizing it. So it's that contradiction just is really difficult to synthesize. As we continue through this, please do click the subscribe button. Where else can you get candy kidnapper analogies like that? I don't know.
Do you think they share that information with Trump? I'm just asking you guys. Like, I just want to explore that one for a second.
I mean, if you'd imagine that in order to keep the files from coming out, it's got to go all the way to the top, is my assumption. Unless there's some type of like hidden agreement where it's like, hey, we're going to protect him from information so that he doesn't sound crazy, and he can just kind of run with whatever the mainstream narrative is. But the fact that his tune is even switched up leads me to believe that he
knows something. So the reason he knows it because he's like, we're gonna showcase, we're gonna talk about this guy. They ran on it. They ran on cleaning out the swamp. They ran on all these.
They brought all the influencers, gave them all binders with all the shit that was all redacted.
Yeah. Do you remember this?
Yeah.
They tried to promote this. Like they were building this excitement up for us to just get, I don't know, what is it? What is the term? Like the wind taken out of our sails?
Yeah.
Whatever. So the fact that his tune has changed from, hey, let's have a social media moment with the binders, to, you guys are still talking about this guy? Yeah, we're talking about it because of you.
Yeah.
You're the one that keeps the conversation going when you hand out the binders to the social media influencers.
Yep.
You're the one that keeps the conversation going when your
FBI director goes on podcast and says nothing happened, he killed himself. Yep.
Okay. So it has to go to him. Especially for him to go, why are you guys still talking about this? Because you wanted us to talk about it.
This is brutal. Oh, it's so brutal. Yeah. You know what's really fascinating, though, because there's one thing for them to be fed up. It's one thing for them to be fed up with Trump specifically. Realizing maybe let's just lean in. They shouldn't have gotten into that van. He was offering candy, but he was also saying he was going to kidnap you. So you should have known. But even if you learned your lesson about not getting into that van, will you get into our van when we offer? Because we will actually give you candy, right? But that's a big separation. A lot of people right now are going, I'm so mad I'm in Trump's van and he's kidnapping me. But still believe I'd rather be in this van being kidnapped by him than in Kamala's van being kidnapped by Kamala. And so what I'm a little bit stressed about is, okay, let's celebrate the detachment a little bit, the criticism of Trump, but let's figure out how can we offer real candy with no kidnapper like switcheroo, so that they'll get into our van. I think that works. I want to just apologize to Jaden. I think this has worked out better than I expected. And here Schultz indicates he actually is open to getting into a different van.
The only party right now that to me seems America first is the Democrat Socialist Party.
Yep.
Bernie is America first. Mamdani and all his ideas that he will not be able to execute, and I frankly think many of them are not good ideas, but he is no doubt New York first. The policies seem to want to help people here. That's what I care about. If MAGA wants to take this America First thing back, they got to start looking out for America, and it doesn't seem like they're doing. Lying to Americans is not America First. There is one lie, which is Epstein did not have a blackmail ring on all these very influential people. And by saying that that didn't happen, you have to tell a lot of other little lies. Every one of them just pulls a little piece of thread away from the fabric. And we're starting to see right through it now, and it's just embarrassing.
I'm still so curious. What is it about this? What about the bazillions of other lies? Like, in all honesty, I think Trump's election lies were more clearly, more evidentially, no, for certain, Trump's election lies were more evidentially contradictory to reality than the assumptions people make about the conclusions that are being covered up by Trump, right? There's less concrete evidence than Trump lying about something we had so much evidence on being the election, and how consequential it was that he did that. And that all happened before the friendly softball interviews and support for Trump from a lot of these folks. And so I'm fascinated why this is, I guess it's because it's attached to something they cared so much about. Maybe that's it. That was at the center of a lot of their worldview in a way that for someone like Andrew Schultz, the election lies wouldn't have been, I guess. In response to the Trump is doing the exact opposite of everything I voted for, Tommy Vietor said these guys were never part of the hardcore MAGA base, far from it, but it's probably a good reflection of how a lot of younger voters and first-time Trump voters feel. And that gets at the important part. So to go back to him referencing Bernie and Mamdani, obviously, Bernie's not going to be the candidate in 2028. And so what I've been saying for a long time is, even for a lot of Democratic voters who are going to be having a lot of differences, as I do, with some of the more quote-unquote far-left candidates, I guess you frame them as, there needs to be an important conversation about why they resonate with people across the political spectrum so much. In many ways, Bernie being a really good example of that, where Andrew Schultz is saying, I see Bernie as more quote-unquote America first than Trump right now. And it's because of, as we've been outlining, that aggressive, unapologetic, calling out the powerful, and meaningful systemic change-oriented policy proposals, and not just a defense of the status quo. And whoever is the candidate and whoever are the candidates in future elections for Democrats, if they do want to take back that label as actually pro-working class and actually likely to implement real change for people, then they need to take a lesson from why the Fighting the Oligarchy tour has been so successful, why people are resonating with candidates like Mamdani and Bernie still, even this late in the game, and AOC, etc. Otherwise, they're missing something that's really happening, underlying a lot of why people fell for Trump, which is that people are willing in this moment to risk it on all sorts of different types of candidates. In my head, that doesn't make sense to see the failures of the broader establishment and go with Trump, because it's kind of like, wait, you picked the candidate who was even worse for those issues than the establishment. But that's people, that vibe you have to just, I want to screw over the system, I want something different, did give us Trump. And so a non-defender of the status quo and a disruptor is going to be necessary to win over, which was Tommy Vietor's point, people who are very gettable. And that's why you have to have a more compassionate tone to this, because however annoyed you might be with really influential people like Rogan and Schultz saying, how could we have known this was going to happen? We did know. There was a whole playbook. We knew it. But you can't expect every single person to know that, I guess. And a lot of what they represent in the voter base is winnable. And so let's go ahead and take this moment as a chance to win them. And then you have Shane Gillis.
That's insane that they're just being like, yeah, no, everything was cool, above board, don't worry.
It's like Trump dog.
Yeah.
It's tough not to fucking point some fingers.
Huge question.
You got killed while you were president.
Yeah.
and you were there. There's so many photos of them chilling.
Allegedly hung with his staff.
I know.
Allegedly hung with his staff.
The cope on Trump's innocent. The cope is fucking pretty intense. Yeah, he did go to the island and he just hung out with the staff, dude. The staff said that. Was the staff 12?
I know. Who knew John
I think everyone was hanging out with the staff.
Yeah.
And in Shane's defense, I don't know for certain, but I don't think he was as in the Trump corner as the Schultzes and Rogans were. You can take that down. But this is really meaningful, and why I'm presenting it however much I'm struggling. And it is a more positive, optimistic phenomenon. Make sure as we continue through this to click the subscribe button. Did I say that already? Oops. If I did. But I mean, stories like this that are radicalizing people against Trump. Orlando Sentinel saying DACA recipient from Orange County among those at Alligator Alcatraz, attorney says. One of the first transfers from the Orange County jail to Alligator Alcatraz is a 36-year-old who is legally in the United States and was picked up for driving with a suspended license. The man is recipient of DACA, 2012 program that shields undocumented people who arrived here as children for deportation for obvious reasons, and swarming mosquitoes, non-working toilets, and horrific food. It's interesting the toilets was cited because that was the thing that Steve Ducey was so enamored by during his interview with DeSantis. You remember he was like, wow, wait, so you just have a bunch of bathrooms? And DeSantis was like, yeah, look, there's bathrooms. We have bathrooms. We have beds. Okay. And it's a terrible, terrible place for people, and now even lawful immigrants are being sent there, which everyone warned of. That's what happens. Then Reuters reporting one California worker dead, hundreds arrested after cannabis farm raid. This was widely publicized. You have a worker who died on Friday from injuries sustained a day earlier when U.S. immigration agents raided a cannabis operation and arrested hundreds of workers. And what caused some of the chaos was that it became a clash between ICE agents who were coming in helicopter and spraying tear gas and rubber bullets, and anti-ICE protesters. Now, I saw in response to this, I mean, just imagine the tragedy of that it got so chaotic and there were so many injuries that someone ended up dying, losing their life, that a protester had pulled a gun on ICE agents. And actually, I'll show you this. Libs of TikTok was saying, or I don't know if this was in California, not sure if this is the exact same clash, but one of these clashes saying that anti-ICE protesters pulled a gun on ICE agents in California. Will Gavin Newsom condemn this? And they always do that. They're like, Democrats won't condemn whenever protesters get violent. Even though every single time every Democratic leader does like this, of course I condemn any assault on law enforcement. You shit poster, now do January 6th, which of course libs of TikTok won't denounce that violence. But yeah, if people protesting are getting violent or pulling weapons, that is bad, and that escalates the situation. And we can say both. We can see the escalation and the indiscriminate nature of these raids that are now causing lives to be lost, and then grabbing up people who are all different immigration statuses, as is reported on here. A veteran who's a U.S. citizen was grabbed up, and now his sister doesn't know where he is.
Just an extremely emotional scene here. The minute that we arrived outside Glass House Farms, we met a sister and a wife of a man who works as a security guard here, George Redis. He is a disabled U.S. veteran. He is a U.S. citizen, and they are desperately looking for him. They haven't heard anything about his whereabouts from yesterday. They do say that he was taken in the raid. We want to show you a picture of 25-year-old George Redis, a U.S. Army veteran who his family again says is disabled. They saw via Air 7 yesterday that he was trying to leave the scene in his white vehicle. Take a listen to what his sister and then his wife told us.
I thought he was probably part of the protest, and he wasn't. He was trying to reverse his car. They broke his window. They pepper sprayed him. They grabbed him, threw him on the floor. They detained him. His wife's been trying to call and ask where he is. They don't know where he is. Apparently, no one associates with nobody. So now we don't know what to do. We're just asking to let my brother go. He's a U.S. citizen. He didn't do anything wrong. He's a veteran disabled citizen. It says it on his car.
And I just want to know where he's at because I have not seen him, and I heard from him since yesterday.
So dystopian stuff so frequently for photo ops. Was this a raid that was getting a bunch of MS-13 gang members? No. Just workers. Now, again, I want you to know what the full context and what the debate becomes in response to this. I guess on the cannabis farm there were videos of children or minors who were being tear gassed, and so that was given some attention for obvious reasons. And the response from the right was, why are there minors working at this cannabis farm, undocumented immigrant minors? The federal government now is launching a labor law investigation. So then again, sometimes I think these social media accounts project their own partisanship onto other people. So let me just say clearly, while on one hand, dystopian, draconian raids like this and the harassment of people of all different immigration statuses who don't pose any public safety threat, etc., are bad and are causing so much disruption in people's communities, making them feel less safe. And if this specific farm had people working underage against child labor laws, that's bad, and they shouldn't, and they should be held accountable. Shockingly, I also don't want children working on farms against child labor laws. It's really pretty simple not to be blinded by partisanship. And this is leading to all these harassments it's leading to people being more hostile, right? Whenever an ICE agent comes up to them. In an ideal world, law enforcement will walk up. They want to be super harassy, especially if they're just approaching you for no reason. It's not like you're a criminal or anything. And then citizens would be like, what's up, ICE agent? How are you doing? High five. What you need, right? But that's not the world that we're in. And instead, people understandably are going, no, you have no right to harass me. Here's a U.S. citizen who was just at the grocery store, and then an ICE agent walks up, or some sort of law enforcement individual. Often they're not marked, so you don't even know. And the U.S. citizen says, I'm taking none of this crap.
Excuse me? Hear me? I'm just saying hello. What's going on? How you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm okay. We having a good day?
Yeah. You
feeling
a good day?
Yeah, feeling blessed. I'm with immigration enforcement out here, just helping everyone out, making sure we're all, supposed to be here. You got
crap. Where you're from?
You got
say anything to me. I don't owe you nothing.
Oh.
I'm a U.S. citizen, so leave me alone.
Oh, I think we'll have a discussion about it.
I'm having no discussion.
Okay. Well, go ahead and show out your papers. You got your ID.
I'm not showing you anything.
Okay. Well, you're not going anywhere, my friend. Excuse me, my friend. You're not going anywhere.
My cart.
I'm immigration enforcement.
Touch my cart.
I think I'm going to touch your cart.
Let go my cart.
Bro, you're going to end up in jail.
I'm a U.S. citizen. You're not going to touch me. You tell me what to do.
I think we're going to have a conversation.
I live in America.
Okay.
This is actually, he just said it, what I was about to say. This is America. People are just walking around, and then agents are walking up going, show me your papers. Show me your papers.
So go to hell.
Go to hell, okay.
Yeah, you go to hell. I'm here to shop and do my business. I don't owe you nothing.
Okay. So you're going to show me some papers.
No te voy a enseñar nada, cabrón.
Okay.
Nada te voy a enseñar.
Okay, we'll see how that goes.
Move.
You're not going anywhere, my friend.
I said move. You're harassing me.
Amigo, we're not going anywhere.
You know what?
Oh, gosh.
I'm going to call my police.
Call your police. Who do you think they're going to call?
I'm going to record you.
Please do.
I am.
What do you think we're out here doing? We're trying to do this.
I don't need you to harass me.
You don't need anything.
Doing my shopping.
I'm not worried what you need.
I'm not bothering you. You leave me alone.
So, just be careful out there. But this did make me think that the U.S. citizen shopper fits this description.
Folks, this guy has mother grapefruit for balls.
Sort of. That takes... Y'all should see me when I interact with law enforcement. I'm like, okay, I don't know. Please. One time I got pulled over for speeding, and I was not speeding that much. And I got out of the car because he asked me to. Well, I like, I pulled, I was pulling over. Was I exiting? Because I thought, maybe this police isn't doing their sirens at me. And if I exit, maybe they'll keep going. And it wasn't for me in the first place, even though I was the only person on the road. I don't know, maybe. I don't know. I'm not telling you. But anyway, so then I pull up to a gas station. And then he's there behind me. And I get out. And I say, please, you are so handsome. And I've never seen someone walk up to a car so great the way that you just did. And actually, I want to be, when I grow up, a police officer. What if this speed ticket ruins that? For me, my wife is pregnant and my mom is sick, and my best friend just called me saying that a bomb's about to go off and I have to defuse it and I have to get there in 10 minutes. I was just throwing out everything, compliments and acting really meek. Anyway, so my point is that it takes some courage to say, you don't have any right to harass me. Do you have any reason to believe that I'm not a U.S. citizen? But also my general advice is, while I get where the hostility is coming from, obviously, just be safe out there, because this led to the ICE agent just leaving. I think the grocery staff was like, all right, dude, you got to go. This is getting ridiculous.
Come on. All right. We'll see you around, Padre. Please. C'est la vie, senor. Good luck with that. Punk bitch.
Yeah, so that's how that ended. So luckily nothing got too bad there, but just be careful is my point. That was just a PSA to be careful. And we don't want anything to escalate any further. Crazy stuff. Share your thoughts in the comments.